So hello and welcome to Ecoholics. Sorry for the delay. So once again we are meeting with the important discussion regarding India's agriculture sector. So India's sector again is in the limelight just because of rising prices in one of the important commodities, which is known as the tomato. So in order to understand this price rise in the tomato, just after we had discussed about the onions last week or maybe few weeks ago. So in the month of September we were discussing about the rise in the prices of the onion, and now we are discussing about the tomato. So if you remember, there's one scheme known as the tomato, onions and the potatoes. So tomato, onions and potato, which is popularly known as the scheme which is top. So top scheme is the abbreviation and this is also known as the इशू आता है, इसीलिए उनका कहने का मतलब है इंग्लिश इज़ द लैंग्वेज ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन। तो आप सभी थोड़ा थोड़ा मैं आपको हिंदी में ज़रूर बताता जाऊँगा। तो आज हम एग्रीकल्चर के बारे में डिस्कस करेंगे, क्योंकि टमाटो में वही प्राइस राइज देखने को मिला है जो अनियंस में था, और वी कैन इजीली से कि पोटैटोज़ में भी वो कभी भी आ सकता है। तो जो टॉप एक स्कीम है टमाटो, अनियंस एंड पोटैटो, इज़ पॉपुलरली नोन एज द ऑपरेशन ग्रीन। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है इसको समझना। Now starting with the reasons. Now if you remember in the we were discussing about the rise in the prices of the onions. That prices of onions rose and Indian government imposed the margin export price. Minimum export price, sorry. They have imposed minimum export price. It means that at $850, this is the minimum export price. Below that they cannot export, they have to sell in the domestic market. तो मिनिमम एक्सपोर्ट प्राइस जो अनियंस पे लास्ट सितंबर लगाई गई थी सरकार द्वारा कि $850 पर टन से नीचे प्राइस पे एक्सपोर्ट नहीं कर सकते। बट द सेम थिंग अगेन हैपेंड, द अनियन बैन्स एटसेट्रा। There was a problem in the neighboring states like Bangladesh, and the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, actually briefed about this ban, and she said that there's a problem in the Bangladesh regarding Indian imports that they were importing from India. तो ये इशू था कि बांग्लादेश में जो हम एक्सपोर्ट करते थे वो एक्सपोर्ट बैन लगाने से और प्राइस इम्पोज करने से वो जो सिचुएशंस थी उसमें बांग्लादेश के एक्सपोर्ट्स डाउन हो गए थे। कहने का मतलब ये है कि जो सितंबर में थी वही सेम चीज़ अब अक्टूबर में टोमेटोज़ के साथ हो रही है। Not talking about tomatoes, and in any case and potatoes as well, but although potatoes are more or less safe. Now these are the three basic vegetables जो मैंने आपको बताया, तीन basic vegetable जिसमें ज़्यादातर इंडिया प्राइस वॉलेटिलिटी फेस करते हैं। So these are the three vegetables under which India faces extreme price volatility. Now Indian government thinking is same. Like for agriculture, Indian government has to make sure two important things. The number one is the remunerative prices for the farmers, and the second one is the affordable prices for the consumers. इसका क्या मतलब है? एग्रीकल्चर की पॉलिसी में जो गवर्नमेंट का मेन एम है तो फार्मर्स हैं उनको रेम्यूनरेटिव प्राइस मिले, मतलब जितना वो डिजर्व करते उतना पैसा मिले, और कंज्यूमर साइड से कंज्यूमर को ये सारी कमोडिटीज़ एक अफोर्ड पे मिल जाए। Now if we see the comparison of the onion and other commodity, onion especially, onion is the most volatile, the 52% of volatility in the price, followed by the tomato. So in the tomato the volatility is around 47%. Potato is the least volatile, stands at 31% the price volatility. Now why potato is less volatile, although we know much about potato, but I would just like to tell you that if you see the value chain starting from, we can say, processing to production, प्रोसेसिंग से लेके प्रोडक्शन तक वो सबसे ज़्यादा जो अगर हम देखें सबसे ज़्यादा जो किस में है वो है आपका टोमेटोज़ में, उसके बाद अनियंस में और उसके बाद दी पोटैटो में। तो आप इसे समझ सकते हैं कि जो शेयर है दैट्स वाई पोटैटो इज़ लीस्ट वॉलेटाइल बिकॉज of higher processing and higher production there. If you see the India's 8,000 plus cold storage. So India is having certain cold storage facility. If you see the India's total cold storage, this is stands around cold storage in India. 90% of them are actually handling potatoes. So storing potatoes is obviously not a big question. Say that regarding the second commodity, that is tomato. It is obviously this can't be stored for too long. तो ज़्यादा लंबे समय के लिए हम टोमेटो को नहीं कर सकते, बट पोटैटो को स्टोर करना आसान है। और उसका रीज़न कर्नाटका जो मेजर टोमेटो प्रोड्यूसिंग स्टेट्स हैं, जैसे आपने सुना होगा कोलार मंडी कर्नाटका में बहुत फेमस है, सबसे बड़ी है पूरे इंडिया में। तो महाराष्ट्र एंड कर्नाटका दोनों से जो सप्लाई है वो क्योंकि हैवी रेन्स की वजह से क्रॉप लॉस हुआ है। नाउ इफ यू रिमेंबर, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया अनाउंस्ड rupees 500 budget in the year 2018 to the Operation Green, which is known as OG, and that is related to top, that is onion and the potato. So this was the allocation. Now what was that allocation must have been used for? So it is to create the value chains. So we create the value chains, अगर हम value chains बनाएंगे तो जो price fluctuations है वो कम हो पाएंगे। Logic behind launching this Operation Green is on the lines of Operation Flood. Heard about this term Operation Flood? ये किसके लिए था आप मुझे comment box में बताएं। Operation Flood किस चीज़ से related था? So Operation Flood, line of the Operation Flood, just to improve the value chain, because Operation Flood was very successful campaign, and this flood is for the commodity called milk. Now if you see the milk is having, we can say, share of consumers rupee that goes to the farmer. Now if you see that, suppose any amount of money, suppose 100 of money comes from selling of milk, the highest share of this 100% would go to the, that helped in stabilizing the prices of the milk. Now you know India is the largest producer of the milk, so that's how it became the number one. Now obviously this scheme held from took help of Ministry of Food Processing, so Ministry of Food Processing and Industry, but we can say it was Operation Flood based on the model of Amul. Now what Amul did, Amul was doing large procurement of these milk from the directly from the farm, and what they were doing, they were processing this milk. So you must have heard about this toned milk available in the market. So that is the processed milk. Stored the excess milk. So in order to counter the lower cycle, so what these storage facilities, what they were doing, they were storing due to during the lean season, so that will help in maintaining the supply and the price. So just behind the price stabilization, it played an important role. Now from this 100% what milk actually generates, 5% of the amount of consumer pays goes to the farmers. So it means the larger share goes to the farmer. This is very good sign that farmers are getting the majority share. Now if you see the share of these commodity, which is known, so tomato, onion and the potato, now they are getting less than 1/3. So farmers are getting less than 1/3 of what consumer pays. As I told you in the last discussion last month when we were discussing about the high amount of onion prices, this is just because high amount of mandi fees. So if you want to sell in APMC mandi, you have to pay the mandi fees. Over and there are certain kind of commissions for the agents as well. So farmer gets around, we can say, get very less, that is around 1/3 of what consumer pays. Now if you see the share of the farmer for the top, for tomato every 100% the farmers are getting. For onion they are getting 29%, and for potato they are getting 26%. It means majority of the share what consumer pays going to the farmer. Farmers are getting very less. So this requires massive reforms, especially in the mandis. So agriculture produce market committee, these are the mandis that farmer has to sell in these type of mandis. Now if you see the stabilization of the retail prices, especially we say for the fresh commodities of this top. Now what you have to do, we have to ensure that the higher share of what consumer pays should go to the farmers. So this is what the main aim of the program, which is known as the Operation Greens. So I'll tell you the 3-step solution for this. Number 1 solution is make certain buffer stocking. Now if you see the buffer stocking, it means you will create the ample amount of storage. The ample amount of storage, especially we can say about onions as well as the tomatoes, because potatoes we are having a large amount of backup. But whenever we say that the rise in the prices of onions or rise in the prices of tomatoes, what government do? Government certainly starts and they put the ban on stocking. It means the person or the private storage facilities cannot stock these kind of commodities. They have to sell, they have to release. This actually affect in the long term regarding the private. So if you are the regular follower of my live session, you must know that the importance of private investment in actually reviving the Indian economy slowdown. So this inviting the large private firms if you do not do things like ban on stocking. Now what government can do? Government can invite the big private storage facilities, and another thing can actually repeal the Essential Commodities Act. Under Essential Commodities Act 1944, what Essential Commodities Act said that we have to protect certain kind of commodities just to see the fluctuations in the prices. But what this act is doing is decreasing or discouraging our exports as well as stocking. So if it's allowed, obviously private investment would not come. And if you do not allow exports, obviously it will hurt the India's export competition. And obviously when Bangladesh is not getting onion and tomato from India, obviously if India denies them, what they will do? They will move towards another country, maybe China. So that is not good for India's perspective. So we can say that the Competition Commission of India, CCI, should look into this particular solution. The second solution we are having is about the processing capacity. Now if you see the processing capacity of these 3 vegetables, which is known as the tomato, onion and the potato. Now the buffer stock of tomato is, we can say, far difficult because it is not possible. It remains the only solution of about tomato. Like we can say, if you see the government regulation like GST. Now GST on tomato puree, you must have heard about tomato puree, or we can say tomato juice, sauce, etc. That should reduce from 12% to 5%. Because if you see the Operation Flood, under that the milk attracts GST between 0 to 5%. It means if we reduce the tax on tomato puree, tomato juice, etc., that is more, we can say, more opportunity for investment. Now here, in order to promote these kind of processed food items like puree as well as juice, you can have other things like in onion, that is known as the dehydrated onion flakes, popular in the Western world. And we can use these kind of flakes or onion powder, such as the places like for the armed forces, hospitals, where we have to store these kind of things for up for a, we can say, decent long period, and advanced countries are doing the activities. So if we see that India is having a lot of opportunity to harness these kind of the scope that it achieve regarding the processed food, and Ministry of Processing, Food Processing and Industry is also doing a great job. But while we can say that exports around 10 to 15% of these top production, that is tomato, onion and potato, but if you see the fresh and dehydrated forms, so fresh forms is around 10 to 15%, but dehydrated form is around 1%. So we need to go this at this particular point. Regarding potato, we have like certain things like we have the frozen tikkies, French fries, etc. So you can also froze these kind of things and you can store potato for a longer period of time. तो इसमें हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा पोटैटो को सेव कर सकते हैं, टोमेटो, अनियन एंड पोटैटो. Third is very vital. As I told you about AP, now we need to find certain solution about the APMC exploitation. The most important thing here, we can bypass the APMC. It means what these firms or retailers can do. Now retailers can directly buy from the farmers. So organized they can buy directly from FPOs, that is farmer produced farming is very popular nowadays in India as well. So contract farming is a good system, good option, because it will bypass the APMC mandis. So government should allow this, and this will give more opportunity for the farmers in order to participate directly into the market. What they will do, they will get the major share of what consumer pays from this 100%. Now there are certain examples, like about the term called Safal. So Safal is a retail outlets which provides the top commodity, that is tomato, and this is a cooperative, we can say cooperative outlet, and this is located nearby Delhi. So I've seen into Delhi NCR region these Safal, that is the cooperative or retail shops, retail outlets, where prices of the onion nowadays selling at 25 rupees per kg, where in the market if you want to buy, you can buy at 50 to 60 rupees per kg. So this is kind of activity that is very vital in order to improve the value chain. And in agriculture sector, whenever the market is inefficient, the problem persists only under value chain. So if the question arises in the examination, the most important thing is the development should increase in order to get the market reforms. So if you see these kind of activities, if you apply these kind of the suggestion in your answer writing, that would help you in fetching the extra marks, especially by giving certain examples, like as I have given into about Kolar Mandi. So Kolar Mandi is located in Karnataka, one of the largest mandi in the country, which is now overutilized, needs certain kind of expansion, especially related to area which they cover. So these kind of things that government should do in order to stabilize price, not the things like minimum export price, ban on stocking. So ये सारी चीज़ों से बनेगा. So if you have any doubt, you can ask, most welcome. You have 5 minutes, you can ask anything regarding the topic that we are discussing.